Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Ned's Healing Sanctuary. Enjoy. So, this slide talks about negative versus positive emotions. All right. And um, so we have an external stimulus at the top. You can see this guy with, if you look at it from his perspective, his left shoulder, which is alignment with what we were talking about, was his ego, my ego at the time. And that's the mind. Okay. And then on his right shoulder, right here, you have the higher self, which we talked about in the first video, which now we're talking about as spirit. And he's looks perplexed. You could see he's confused, like, because they're both chattering at him, right? His spirit is giving him intuition and gut feelings. And his ego or mind is maybe telling him to do something that's not in alignment. So he's like, what do I do? And that's where the choice comes in. Okay. You may not know it, or you may not have really thought about it, but how you feel is entirely up to you. You decide how you feel. Okay. Now, I'm not telling you not to feel negative emotions. That's far from what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is that you can decide how long to feel them. The longer you um, harbor a negative emotion or feel it, that's what you're focused on. And that's what you're praying for to come into your life. Okay. The law of attraction. So whatever you focus on is what you're praying or sending to the universe to mirror back to you. That's why it's so important to think positively, act positively, feel positively. That's why. Very simple. So, positive emotions all emanate from love. That one on the top right here. Okay? Joy, serenity, hope, compassion, admiration. They're all forms of love. On the right side, we have the negative emotions. You might feel angry sometimes. I do. Jealousy, anxiety, that's fear of the unknown, or it could be dread of having to go somewhere or do something that you don't want to do. It may be founded or unfounded. It may not have a basis or it may. Fear. We all deal with fear. It's an illusion. All of these emotions on the right are illusions. Grief, when someone passes, or maybe a pet passes that you love, that's been in your family a long time, causes grief. That's a tough one. Fear, anxiety, and grief and anger, actually all of these are extremely difficult emotions to process. Okay? I'm not minimizing what I'm asking you to do. I'm not. Stress. Stress is brought on by deadlines, either externally imposed or internally imposed. You just put pressure on yourself to finish something by a certain time. And when you don't meet it, there's even more stress, which, as we talked about, can cause physical harm. All of these can cause physical harm. All right. So, how do we process emotions? What is their flow? Well, positive emotions are great because they usually don't stick in your head. And if they do, that's what you want. You want these to stick in your head. This is how you should feel. I want you to feel all the time. I want you to feel loved. I want you to feel happy, serene, peaceful, hopeful, compassionate. Okay? I want you to feel this way because that will bring more of this into your life. This is how we arrive at our final destination on this journey we're on. Okay? Trying to stay on the right side as much as possible is your train ticket to where you ultimately want to go and where I want to go. I'll tell you, I can't get there without you. Okay? None of us can. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So how do we process negative emotions? Um, well, you like we talked about. You have a stimulus that invokes an emotional response. All right. Let's say you feel jealous about a coworker getting a raise or a promotion. Okay. And you feel jealous. Why? Because you're worthy of that raise or promotion. Why did they get it and not me? You know, it's a very common um, feeling to have. Well, I'm not saying don't feel jealous. No, feel jealous. Okay. But don't hang on to it. Okay. And if you decide to take action from the jealousy, like by trying to undermine the other person in some way, that's going to make things much, much more difficult for you to process and release because there's going to be guilt with that. Whether you want there to be guilt or not does not matter because you did not align with your higher self, with your spirit. There's going to be guilt. And if the guilt is not also released, then you're going to have physical manifestations. That's very common. So what do we do if we feel jealous? I'm not telling you it's bad. It's not bad. It's not wrong. Okay. If I'm telling you to be kind to others and to walk in the path of your spirit, the first person you need to be kind to is you. Okay. We're way, way too harsh on ourselves. You need to be forgiving of yourself. If you can't love yourself, there's no way you're going to be able to love anyone else the way you should. Okay? Just know that. So, okay, I'm jealous of, let's say, Bob. Bob got the promotion, he got the raise. And then I meet up with him in some hallway at work. So, and I know how I should react, right? I should react happily for him, right? Ah, congratulations. Great job. But that's not how I feel, right? But I swallow my pride and I say that to him. And now I have to process the emotion. So jealousy comes to mind. That's okay to feel jealous. Feel jealous. Maybe you feel jealous for an hour or a day or a week or a month. And you see where this is going? Or a year or 10 years. The choice is yours. So instead of feeling jealous for 10 years and then cutting Bob off, not talking to him, um, let's try to shorten that because it's in our best interest and Bob's. Why? Because when you feel a negative emotion, it not only affects you, it affects Bob as well. Why? Because we're interconnected beings. We're interconnected beings. When you think about someone, positively or negatively, you affect them positively or negatively. If you feel something about someone, you affect them positively or negatively. Okay? And so, you view people as separate entities, right? Which is how we need to view them here on Earth, but that's not reality. The reality is that we are all one. We are all one. Here on this plane, on this Earth, everything is outside of us and everything is separate from us. That's not how things really are. That's how your senses tell you. That's what they tell you. That's what you see. Okay? But I can impact you by thinking about you or by feeling something about you. And it's in my best interest, if I want to get to where I want to go, to think about you in a positive light and to feel good things about you. That's how we get to where we want to go instead of being stuck here. So, what can you do to feel um, negative anger, negative emotions, shorter, shorter time frame? What I felt helps is that when the emotion pops up, okay, feel it, acknowledge it, and let it go. Okay, And if you did take a negative action along with that thought or emotion, then you may need to undo it. You may need to apologize first because you're going to have residual guilt from that action that you took. Okay? So when you can avoid it, try to stay on the positive side. And if you can't, no problem. Just feel the emotion. Okay, I'm jealous. I know why I'm jealous. I felt I deserved that promotion or raise as much as Bob. I know it. I forgive you for feeling that way. This is the circumstance I'm in, and I accept it. Okay? Everybody's on a different timeline. Everybody's on a different path. So everything happens for a reason. And when things happen, specifically when things we want to happen or when bad things happen, we don't know why. But when you look back on it later on, you probably will know why. And you may be thankful that it happened the way it did. Okay? That's why we can't judge, because we don't have all the information. When the event happens, there's so much more around it, okay, that is not revealed to us. So we cannot be judges. We can't. It's like the jury trying to judge someone for a crime they committed when they don't have all the information. They have a quarter of it, or even less, a tenth. It's not fair to judge ourselves or anyone else because we don't know all the information. It's hidden from us. Okay? So, jealousy, I felt it, I acknowledged it, I understood where it came from. Okay? But now I'm going to let it go. I'm going to forgive myself for feeling it, and I'm going to let it go. And how can you try to reduce the time that you feel anxious or you feel negative emotions? Um, well, it's a repetitive process, similarly to thoughts. Okay, you got to work at it. You have to work at it, and the way to work at it is to be an independent observer of not only your thoughts but your actions. I'm sorry, your emotions as well. Be a third-party observer. Monitor, okay, without judgment, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and you decide if it's negative or not. If it's negative, try to shorten the time you feel it. So let's say the first time it happened, you felt jealous for 6 hours. Okay. Well, next time, let's try to make it an hour. Okay. Try to release it. And the time after that, let's try to make it 30 minutes. And then the next time you feel jealous, let's try for 15 minutes. And the next time, 5 minutes. And the next time, 1 minute. And the time after that, seconds. It's really where we want to get to. Seconds. Feel it for a fleeting moment, and then it's gone. Because then you'll stay in the positive. You'll stay in the positive, which is where we want to be. All right. I'm going to discuss how to release uh, blockages. All right. So that's next. So let's talk about that. Um, I do want to give you a personal anecdote here. So I experienced an imbalance or a blockage in my energy, and mine was related to fear. And so what I was fearful of, it was recent, was not knowing what to do next in my life. I had reached a crossroad and did not know what the fire burning inside me was. What is my passion? What do I want to do now? I didn't know. And that scared me. That scared me. And it was likely too because I wasn't as in tune with my spirit as I should be. I wasn't hearing that intuition, the gut feeling. Even though, this passion of mine has been with me my whole life. And so what happened was I froze out of fear. I was fearful of making the wrong choice or making a choice that would fail. I didn't want to fail. That's the bottom line. So um, I meditated on it, and we'll go through a meditation exercise after this. I meditated about it, trying to get in tune with my intuition, and eventually, I meditated like 2 times a day, 3 times a day, and eventually, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And when it hit me, I just burst into tears. Why? Because I was free. I felt it. It was like, like handcuffs or weights being removed from my back. And what I felt was that I wanted to help my fellow human beings on this journey of life. That's what I wanted. Okay? I want to help us all get to where we want to go by imparting truth, knowledge. Am I claiming, to be an expert? No, I'm not. But I have a lot of experience in life and in research in the spiritual realm. Okay, so that's my experience. And when that was lifted from me, I took action. I started this YouTube channel, and I'm starting to make videos, and I'm working according to my higher purpose. I'm in alignment now with what I'm doing with my higher purpose. And I feel that. And I want you to feel the same. Okay? Another example I want to share is in the case of grief. In this case, I lost my dad when I was really young. I was 7 years old. And my mom took it really hard. He was the head of the household, care of the home. And he took it very hard. She kind of withdrew from her friends, from her life, into a cocoon. And she isolated herself and was very somber and sad, melancholy most days. And this didn't just last, like a couple of weeks or a month or even 6 months. It lasted the whole rest of her life. She was not the same person. She constantly wore black. Um, and she just was not herself, more angry at the world. And I think what happened was she felt victimized because my father was taken from her before um, she felt he should have been. And so I believe we were all really young at the time, but I believe she went into depression. And she never sought help, professional help, therapy, or anything like that. And so I think it just changed who she was. She did not live the life that she probably should have or could have because of that. And so these negative emotions are very powerful. And if we don't process them and the way that we should, they can stick around and they can fester, they can get much, much bigger. And when that happens, then all of a sudden it's bigger than you can handle. And no matter what you do, you may not be able to break out of it. This is similar to depression, right? I mentioned she had grief and then probably depression on top of that, or it's spun into that. So by any means necessary, please, um, if you feel stuck for any length of time, um, seek help. Okay, it's available, and we deserve better. You deserve better. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Ned's Healing Sanctuary. Please consider subscribing to my channel to be made aware of new content as it becomes available. Take care.